Yeah. What do you do with those digitals? Like, do you just post them or
Don't post them.
Okay, don't post them.
Actually, a lot of models do.
If you guys have them professionally taken, you can post them, but don't post your cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I have to give digitals every single month to my agents out in Mexico. And what they do is they'll send it to my clients. And so instead of a portfolio, they'll send them my digitals, raw faced, because what they want is they don't want to see you in a different character. So if I was in an editorial photo where I'm all like crooked and lopsided and everything, no, they get to see me straightforward. They get to see my entire figure. So then they can develop off of that instead of a figure that they already see in those photos. Another thing I do recommend is have a printed out portfolio as well as the one on your phone. Just create an album with all of your photos, update it constantly. Don't keep photos in there from 2014 because they don't care about those. And normally what they'll do is they'll be like, do you have a portfolio? I'll hand them my phone. They'll airdrop them all the photos that they want to send to the rest of their clients. So that just makes my life a lot easier.
Can I touch on that?
Yeah.
Guys, also remember that you don't need all 50 photos from each photo shoot.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking one, maybe two. And I only pick two if I absolutely cannot choose between two of them. But the reality is in your portfolio, they don't want to see a bunch of photos from the same shoot. They want to see the money shot, and that's why it's called the money shot. It's the one you want them to see. It's the one you want them to remember. If that's what you're going to post on social media, don't post 100 photos from the same shoot. And if you're signed with me, you're not actually allowed to post any photos unless I approve them first because we're branding you. Yeah, I know, you're fine. Elle said, oh no, you're good. But guys, just remember that you don't ever want to post more than just one, maybe two photos from the same shoot if you're actually using it for your portfolio or for your social media self-promotion. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's something really good to add because one thing my manager does is he picks 2 photos from every single shoot. So I just got done from a shoot where a photographer was like, I'm going to give you all 3,000 photos that I took.
And if you send me 3,000 photos, I'm gonna send you.
It took up so much room on my computer. So much room on my computer. I sat with those pictures for about 3 weeks. And then I finally told her, I was like, you just choose. I don't care, you choose. I'm done looking at myself. And so choose 2 photos for every single shoot that you're gonna add to your portfolio, preferably one standing or leaning or another one where you're sitting, or even different angles. But make sure there's 2 photos from every single shoot and every outfit. But don't pick the same shoot with 2 different outfits. Pick the same shoot with the same outfit. That makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay. So then they can see different sides of you in that outfit. So say a sweater looks good in this photo, but not in this photo. It's still the same photo. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Can you tell them a little about some of your auditions and the process that you've had to go through?
Oh my God.
Because it's brutal, guys. Mexico's cute. We're real nice. You guys get to some of these big ones.
They're nice. They're patient with you. Now, me not knowing any Spanish going down to Mexico City is tough. Like, not only are you getting yelled at to walk different directions and everything, but I didn't know the language. So I'm just like, okay, left, right, front, back, I don't know. So they started just working with me. But the hardest one I had to go through was for the catalog shoot that I booked. It was a cattle call. So if you don't know what a cattle call is, it's where everybody can go and try out. It's not just the clients picking from an agency, seeing if they like that girl and they come in, try on some clothing and walk out. I was going up against 370 something girls. That's what my makeup artist told me. And I walked in, I go, yeah, no, I'll try it. I'll try. I'm not gonna just walk out of this audition. And so girls, if we were told to all bring bathing suits, I'm happy my agent told me, but there were some agents that did not tell their models that they needed to bring bathing suits. So you know what they did? Stripped down to their underwear and bra. They didn't care because they wanted that job and they were gonna do whatever they needed to do to get that job. And so they didn't care what they were showing as long as they provided what the casting directors needed. And so again, there is that intimidation factor that you have to go against. You're going one after another against some gorgeous girls you never thought you would be competing against. So I walked in and I go, I see 20 girls that I think are way prettier than me that are gonna get this job. And then at 8 o'clock in the morning, my booker called me and was like, can you make it to set in 30 minutes? You just booked a 4-day catalog shoot for Andrea. And I was like, what? I competed against 300 girls and they chose me. And I found out on set with some of the other models that they only chose 7 girls and 5 boys. And I was like, that's an accomplishment right there. So with this industry, you never know what they're looking for, ever. Some people you may think are the gorgeous, most beautiful people in the entire world, and another person be like, they're just average, they're fine. But you look gorgeous, and I want you. So that's something I had to remember, and that was a confidence boost for me. So every time I'm put down in a situation or a company doesn't like me, I was like, but I just beat out 300 girls for a job. So I know I can do it in some way, shape, or form. It just takes time, it takes patience. This industry is not for the weak. You have to have it in your heart and soul. I always tell myself I would go homeless for this industry. The average salary of a model for a starting model is $30,000 a year. Try living in New York on $30,000. It's not easy. And so I'm happy I have parents that support me with all of this, but I would do whatever I needed to do to get into the modeling world. And so that's how I know I'm strong enough for this industry, but I'm trying to help other girls recognize that it's not the easiest, but I'm going to help you as much as I possibly can. That was inspirational.
Well done.
Thank you.
So how is it working logistically? Are you flying to New York for the audition?
So I've had instances where my manager has called me and he's like, hey, can you make it the day before? Can you fly out and they'll give you this much to pay for the flights? Because another thing you guys should know is they will not pay for your food, your travel, your transportation from the hotel to the set. None of that's paid for. It all comes from your paycheck that they give you. And so I think a lot of people don't recognize that these models go on these excursions to these different places. No, they're paying for it. They're paying for it all. And sometimes you're lucky and have the company pay for it. But what was your question?
So are you absorbing that cost just on the chance that you'll?
Yes. So I save up. So I usually save up 5% of what I make just for travel alone. And of course I'm flying like economy. I'm like trying not to get all fancy with it. But yeah, my manager will call me the day before, or he'll say, hey, in a week, they want you to fly out to Mexico City. Can you do that? If I financially cannot do it, I won't do it until I can get a little bit more print work and where they can give me all that. And then sometimes, very rarely can you get royalties off of a magazine, but sometimes there's always those positive chances.
So can I touch on that, guys?
Yeah.
So y'all, it costs money to make money.
And I think people really have to understand that it costs money to train. It costs money to get your photos done. It costs money to print out your photos to make your portfolio. It costs money to print out headshots and comp cards. And yes, pre-COVID, it costs money to go to the auditions. Right now, I mean, COVID was tragic, but the one good thing that we got out of it is a lot of stuff is virtual now. They are accepting videos of you walking, self-tapes for my actors, yeah? But it's still the reality is for some of these big shows, they're gonna wanna see you in person. And so yes, you are gonna spend the money to go audition. What if you don't book? It's part of it. And I think that that's one thing that New Mexico, we're not educated on. And it's just, you know, everyone's saying, oh, I'm already struggling. I don't even have money to go take a class. So if you don't have money to take a class, how do you have money to go to an audition? And so it is a catch. You know what I mean? It is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. But I think that if you really pursue this seriously, you should have a stash of cash that goes towards your modeling fees, towards your travel, towards your photos, towards your stuff, towards your training whenever you have an opportunity. And you guys just have to realize that. Same thing for my actors. You guys understand that you have to pay for acting class. You have to pay for those headshots. Now, thankfully, I don't have to send you to LA for an audition. We've got this amazing self-tape situation happening in the acting world. But models, guys, most of them still want to see you. And especially if it's a fashion show where the designers are showing up at the show to pick their models, which for Santa Fe Fashion Week, that's what happened, is the models would show up the day of, and that morning we would do a full runway walk and the designers would sit in the audience and pick their models the morning of. Some of those models didn't walk. Not all models got chosen. So realize that not only is it a tough industry that you need to get through emotionally and have tough skin and realize that you never know what they're looking for. Your eyebrows could be too close. You could have, 1 inch off of what they're looking for, but also it's tough because financially you're gonna have to source that money to get yourself out until you start making money. But even when you make money, you guys models do not make a ton of money. You think they do, but they really don't. This is kind of one of the lowest paying industries or parts of the industry. You do it because you love it.